Good evening, everyone. I am Mark, your fat friend, and I'm here alone tonight. It is December 16th. It is 8:01 p.m. I am live. This is not a pre recorded Podmas here at the Fat and Black Connection. So, with that being in mind, if I'm live, must mean that I'm interactive. So, as we go through tonight's episode, feel free to chat away and tell me what your thoughts are. Tonight, we'll be talking about movies and specials around the holiday season. And, it wouldn't be a Fat Black Connection if I didn't have a drink. So let's get started. So, when we think about holiday movies and television specials, one of the things that comes to mind, and we had this debate recently between Tyrus and James, is Die Hard. Is it a Christmas film? And I'm going to tell you all my very clear and cut definition of what a Christmas or holiday film is. A holiday film takes place in and around the holidays and has tones of the holidays, meaning there's Christmas trees, there's gift exchanges, there's carolers. Um, so, therefore, based on what I believe or what I've defined as Christmas films, Die Hard is a Christmas film. It takes place on Christmas Eve. There are Christmas songs in the film at different points. It's pretty cut and dry. I think some people define a Christmas film by it having to specifically only be revolving around the holidays and family events and things of that nature. And I don't know. I just don't agree. Simple as that. So, with that being said, what I will be talking about tonight are some of my favorite holiday movies and specials. And I don't think anybody could debate me that any of these are not considered holiday related. So, one of the ones, just as an honorable mention up front, that I'm not going to be talking about tonight, but I did want to call out as one of my favorite holiday films is Love Actually. I'm not going to be going into that one really tonight, but it's one that I think is fun, and it's a bit more modern than pretty much anything else I'm going to be talking about tonight. Um, so it's not really a holiday classic yet. Give it another 10 years maybe. But this first one is the oldest one on my list. And this is a great film from 1954 with a very, especially at the time, star-studded cast. And that, of course, that I'm talking about is White Christmas, starring Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, and Vera Ellen. Such an outstanding, talented group. It's interesting. If you don't know the story, first of all, it was originally a musical by Irving Berlin that had been done for stage that they decided to turn into a movie. And it's interesting because the dynamic is you have two gentlemen who served in the military, played by Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye in this film. And it starts off with them in the military during World War II. And now they've come back to stateside. And one of the things they did in the military while they were over there was they were entertainers. So they performed for the boys. And when they came back, they, continued to do entertaining. And the ladies in this film, they're actually sisters who are going around doing entertaining themselves. And Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye's characters hear about these sisters, and they're like, "Oh, well, we should go see their show and maybe see if they want to come join our production and be a part of what we do." And of course, as things go, they start to pair off and find interest in one another. What's kind of creepy almost here is that Bing Crosby is 50 plus in this film. So he's already getting up there in age, where his love interest, if you will, in the film, Rosemary Clooney, is in her mid 20s. So he's only like twice her age. Danny Kaye and Vera Ellen, they're closer in age, still a bit of a gap. The other interesting thing about this film that a lot of people don't know is that Vera Ellen, great dancer, decent actor, not a singer. and she actually doesn't sing in this film. That is another person's voice that she's just lip singing to. Um, Hope that didn't blow anybody's mind or disappoint anybody, but a great film. Ultimately, it caps off at the end with the song "White Christmas," and you can see them in their outfits from the finale of the film, and it's just a good story. It's a classic '50s film that if you haven't seen and you love the holidays, it'll get you some feels and get you into the spirit. I hope. This next one, we fast forward just a few years, but we're going to talk about a television special. And this is in 1964, and that's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And for me, this is where I would say 1964 is what kind of kicked off an era of really well known Christmas holiday specials that pretty much just about anyone in America for sure knows, and I'm sure a lot of people around the world know. Um, and these are still shown every year. You can find them, and so they've been going 50 plus years strong. A lot of these. But first up, like I said, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, classic. It was James has talked about it on past episodes. Rudolph was a marketing gimmick by a department store, and eventually turned into a song, which then turned into this film. Claymation, uh, great cast of characters, and from a talent standpoint, to pull Burl Ives, who you see in this image as a claymation snowman, great talented singer. Um, when you think of the song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you're probably thinking Burl Ives in your head. Um, and just to see, his likeness in this snowman, it was just a really good get. And I believe this originally aired on NBC. Um, and so for them to be able to get some talent like that speaks volumes. We start getting introduced in this claymation television special to the different characters in the show, and we come across an elf who wants to be a dentist. Um, and this is where it kind of starts to go on a little bit of a trip. And this is early 60s. So it's not like it's late 60s where drugs are heavy. So it's a little interesting that we start going down this rabbit hole, so to speak, of an elf wanting to be a dentist. And then we come across the misfit toys, the plane that wants to fly underwater, the Charlie in the box, a polka dotted elephant, a train with square wheels. It's just a very interesting concept. Island of Misfit Toys. We of course also come across the Bumble, who an abominable snowman, I suppose, who ends up getting his teeth pulled by our elf would-be dentist. And then we meet the weirdest and trippiest character in this whole special, Yukon Cornelius. Dude's a tweaker. Likes to throw his pickaxe into ice and pull it out and sniff it and lick it. And dude's all about that silver and gold. Um, a great holiday classic song. My wife absolutely hates, but yeah, Yukon Cornelius. He's a bit of a weirdo. And Matt Murray checking in. Here Comes Santa Claus is another great claymation film. Oh, really? Is it? As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. But before we get there, because I am going in chronological order, next up we have in 1968 the Little Drummer Boy. And this is a claymation film that is in that era of a lot of the great holiday specials. But this one is the lesser known. There's the holiday classic song "Little Drummer Boy," which was around before this came out. The the film is kind of based on the song. Uh, and it's honestly, it's not a great story from the way that they portray it. But one of the cool things that I think a lot of people don't know is that the narrator for Drummer Boy is a woman by the name of Greer Garson, who actually was a 7-time Academy Award nominee for Best Actress, one of the most nominated actresses in history. So again, they are pulling these interesting, talented individuals like Burl Ives, Greer Garson, and of course, in this next one that we're going to talk about, which is Frosty the Snowman, uh, they pull another extremely talented, well-known individual in Jimmy Durante uh, to play the narrator in this. Except he's also portrayed as a character in the film. This one is not claymation. This is animated. But again, a lot of fun. That classic song, Frosty the Snowman. And, more likely than not, when you hear the song in your head, you're probably thinking of Jimmy Durante singing it. Frosty the Snowman. That's my go to at least. Another interesting person that was in the cast here, who I believe portrayed the teacher, her name's June Foray. And some people out there listening, watching, are like, who the hell is that? Well, she was the voice of Rocky, the Flying Squirrel from Rocky and Bullwinkle, Jokey Smurf, Granny from the Looney Tunes shorts, Magica Dispel from DuckTales, and many others. But a great, great voice actress, character actress. Frosty the Snowman, the one thing I will say about this is that, again, it pretty much takes the song, follows the story of the song, and it's really about a pile of snow coming to life and children following him around. It's almost a little creepy today, looking at it. Already mentioned, uh, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, another holiday classic. Just a couple years later, so we talked about Drummer Boy 1968, Frosty the Snowman 1969, Santa Claus is Coming to Town 1970, and this actually has two extremely well-known, talented individuals. Fred Astaire as the narrator and postman, who is our framing device for the whole thing, and Fred Astaire, a classic film actor, dancer, can even sing. He extremely talented. Has worked with, and you've probably seen him in many different things. If you've watched any old classic films that involved music and dancing. But Santa Claus is Coming down again. We're in the 70 and in the 1970, and we start to get even more trippy here. And one of the things to call out is that playing the part of Kris Kringle, who is our red-handed protagonist, Mickey Rooney. So again, another huge film actor that they got to do the voiceover for this character. And in this image here, we can also see his friend Penguin Topper. And then we go to the wizard. The Winter Warlock. Just really going off the rails, tripping here. Ultimately, by later in the film, the Winter Warlock is his buddy, but in this scene, not so much. And of course, everyone's favorite Burgermeister, Meisterburger. This next one, purely animated. We fast forward quite a few years to 1983. And this is the first time in 30 years, 30 plus years actually, that Mickey Mouse is in a animated film. They had taken a break with Mickey from pretty much the 50s because there was a lot of dislike of Mickey in the 50s because of the way that the Walt Disney Company was using him, and they decided, okay, you know what, he'll be more of our mascot, and so they finally decided, you know what, it's time to bring him back to the forefront. And it's interesting that they call it Mickey's Christmas Carol when he's not even the main focal point in this film. He of course portrays the role of Bob Cratchit, which it's a good sized role, but by no means is it the lead. And of course we have Ebenezer Scrooge, who is the primary Ebenezer. Some of the cool cameos, if you will, from the Disney character archives. We have Goofy as Jacob Marley, who comes to torment Scrooge before he's visited by the three spirits. And Jacob Marley's basically there to tell him, hey, you're going to get hit up by three ghosts tonight. You change your ways, son. And our first Christmas Past is cameoed by Jiminy Cricket, who, Pinocchio, well known. Jiminy Cricket actually got a lot of love from Disney after Pinocchio, having been in multiple different properties along the way. So they pulled him back out to use him again here as the Ghost of Christmas Past. Willie the Giant gets his turn as the Ghost of Christmas Present. Another fun cameo, unexpected. Just it's entertaining in this one to see the different cameos, and as we're in the different time periods, past, present, and future, we see characters from throughout the Disney lore. We see Daisy and Donald, but we also see characters from Wind of the Willows, or I'm sorry, what people might better know as the characters from Mr. Toad's Wild Ride at Disneyland, but it's Wind in the Willows. And then, of course, the Ghost of Christmas Future, portrayed by Pete, Stinky Pete. Oh no, Stinky Pete is from Toy Story. Sorry. Another great character usage here, and just the way that he delivers is fantastic. So for me, those are my top holiday specials and movies. And I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that have your own. And one of the things that I called out earlier in this episode was that 1964 is really, when you look at it, and I'm going to read you some of these in the order they came out. Just from 64 to 1970, there's just this series of multiple fantastic television animated or claymation specials. 64, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. 65, Charlie Brown Christmas. 66, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. 67, this one's a little meh, but 67, Cricket on a Hearth. 68, Drummer Boy. 69, Frosty. 70, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. So just, a matter of 7 years there where just hit after hit after hit after hit, that still to this day get a lot of love, get a lot of play. And Matt is asking about how do I feel about the Polar Express. I will tell you, I thought it was okay. I thought, my thing is, when I watch animated films, if the characters look too human, I don't really enjoy that. I feel like if you're going to do an animated film, do an animated film. If you want to do a live action film, do a live action film. But don't do an animated film with characters that basically look human, super realistic. Let's maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if that sounds weird, but I think for me, that's one of the biggest attractions for Polar Express. I think overall, it's a good holiday film. It's a good kids film. I don't know if I would say it's a family film necessarily, and I think it probably will be a family film, if not in this decade, in the next decade or two, because it will be one of those ones that does get probably passed down. I think I was too old when Polar Express came out to really like it as a kid, and so I was in my I was a late teenager, I think, when it came out. So I think it just came out for me at a time where it's not one that I'm like, oh, I got to share this with my kid. Um, the ones that I've got to share with my kids are the ones I've talked about tonight, or there are some other ones, but Polar Express doesn't make its way to the top of my list. But that's not to say that it's a bad film. It's not to say that it's not a holiday film or anything like that. It's just not at the top of my list. But with that being said, that's pretty much all I had for tonight. I will tell you that tomorrow night, James will be here for Podmas to talk about some of the goings on in Southern Nevada, Vegas area. So if you're interested, and maybe you're making a trip out to Vegas in the next week, check out that episode. And if you're not, still check out that episode because you might want to go next year. And it'd be nice to know what kind of stuff goes on around there. Um, I don't know if he'll be live or if it'll be recorded. We'll have to wait and see, I suppose. And then after that, we have 3 nights of the great holiday Christmas exchange where Tyrus will be up first, opening the gifts from me and James, and then James will be up opening gifts from Tyrus and me, and then I'll be up opening gifts from Tyrus and James, and that should be a lot of fun. So I hope y'all are enjoying some of these Podmas. I know that it's a lot, and for those of you that have watched every day, thank you. We appreciate you. Hope you're giving us a like and a subscribe to whatever platform you're on. But I know that we can be a lot, and we try to make ourselves as tolerable as possible. So, uh, Merry Christmas, and have a good night.